300 episodes. Let that land for a second. 300 times I've walked into this little home studio that I've had, looked into this camera, and said something that I believed might help you lead better today than you did yesterday. Some of the episodes, I admit, were good. Some were great. And a few, I own, still missed the mark. But every single one of them was built on one belief. You are more resilient than you know. And if I can get you to see that even once, then for me, all of this was worth it. Today is episode 300, and I'm not going to give you a tool, and I'm not going to give you a framework. What I'm going to give you is something that I hope that you carry for the rest of your career into every place and every position you ever go. 7 minutes, one truth, but no execution move. Just a conversation between me and you. I'm Chris Hunsicker, and this is the Dealership War Room. This isn't motivation. This isn't theory. This is a daily leadership briefing for people who actually have to produce results in the arena, at work and at home. You're in the war room, so let's work. I want to take you back to where this all started, not episode 276, before that, before the podcast, before the coaching business, before any of it. A 19-year-old kid standing on a street corner in Hamburg, Germany. No money, no work permit, and no way home. And a German bureaucrat had just stamped denied on every plan I'd made. My parents couldn't and wouldn't help. My connections were gone. And I was just standing there, alone, in a country where I barely even spoke the language. And I'm wondering if this is the moment that my life fell apart. That kid had no idea what was coming. He didn't know he'd spend the next 30 years of his life coaching executives on 4 different continents. He didn't know that he would stand in rooms with dealer principals and Fortune 500 executives and truly help them see what they couldn't see about themselves and change their business in the process. He didn't know he'd write 2 books, host 300 episodes of a podcast, or build a life with a wife who stood by him through every hard season, and 5 amazing children who became the reason he kept going when nothing else made sense. He didn't know any of that. All he knew, standing on that street corner, was that he was not going to quit. That was my choice. Go, not blame. That's where unstoppable begins. Not in the victory, in the decision to keep going before you can even see where the road leads. I love that Michelangelo, when he sculpted David, he had to choose what moment in David's life do you use? And he chose to sculpt the moment that David made the decision to go fight Goliath. And if you look at that statue, you can see it in there. That's what this has been about. Over the last 25 episodes, I've given you everything I have, not just from the book, from my life. The Hamburg story, my father on the bathroom floor, a Vietnam veteran just trapped in a war that never ended for him. The season where my business failed, when my marriage was strained, and quite frankly, when my health was gone. Remember the Krispy Kreme drive-thru at the bottom of a shame spiral? The $500 envelope from a neighbor when I had nothing and couldn't even move. A daffodil in the snow. I shared those stories because I wanted you to know that the person talking to you every morning when you're listening to these, he isn't standing above you. He's standing beside you and living the same stuff. I've been in the vortex. I've been broken by the stories I've told myself. I've blamed when I ran out of skill, and I was an educated blamer. I gripped with dreams that were already gone, and I've run on empty and called it work ethic. Everything I've taught you, I have learned the hard way first from my own personal experience. And here's what I want to leave you with today. Not a tool, a truth. Thriving isn't a destination. It's a way of being. It's not something you achieve once and then protect it and build your moat around it. It's something that you practice every day in micro moments, in hard conversations, in that gap between stimulus and response where your freedom lies, in 5 minutes before you're ready, in the mirror at the end of the day, in the grace that you extend to someone who doesn't deserve it, but they need it, and in the dream that you finally release and the new one that you have the courage to write. See, thriving is not the absence of struggle. It's the presence of a leader who has decided, no matter what happens, I will keep becoming. That's what these 25 episodes were all about. That's the essence of resilience. It's not just making you a more productive leader, it's making you an unstoppable one so that no matter what happens in any season, you can succeed. And I want to speak to you directly right now, not the audience, to you. the person who showed up for these episodes. Maybe not every day and maybe not perfectly. And I'm sure you were distracted from time to time, but you kept coming back and you listened. When it was hard to hear, you wrote things down. You tried new tools. And some of them, sometimes they even shifted and worked. Maybe it was small. Maybe you caught an ant before it ran the meeting. Maybe you paused for 2 seconds before responding and that conversation went entirely differently. Maybe you said the 5 words on a hard morning. I was made for this moment, and you believed them. That's not small. That's everything. Because resilience isn't built around grand gestures. It's built in the moments that nobody sees. And you've been building. Here's my charge to you. As we close this series, don't let this be the last page of the book that sits on a shelf. Let it be the first page of whatever you want to write next. Go back to the episodes that hit you the hardest. Listen to them again and again and again. Use the tools you haven't used yet. Share the series with someone who you know needs it so you got a partner in growth. And keep showing up every single day as the leader that your team needs, that your family needs, that you need. Because at the end of the day, you have survived 100% of your worst days so far. Every single one. And with each one, you've gotten stronger, more resilient, more capable of handling whatever it is that comes next. Because here's the deal. You're enough, period, full stop. And that's not a platitude. That's a fact, backed by every story that you have ever survived. My entire career has taught me one profound lesson. You are enough, and you always have been. If this series has meant something to you, if it's changed how you lead, how you think, or even how you show up, then I would like to ask you 2 things. First, go to chrishunsicker.com and get the book, Unstoppable You, 16 and a half tools for everyday resilience. It's everything we've covered and so much more that we didn't have time for. It's the full toolkit, and you've earned it. Second, if you want to keep building a community of leaders who are doing this same kind of work, then I beg you, apply for the Velocity Mastermind, because the work doesn't end at episode 300. It's just beginning. 300 episodes. It still freaks me out when I say that. 25 of them built from a book that started on a street corner in Hamburg, Germany, with a kid who had nothing but a decision. I'm not going to quit. And that decision became a career. And that career became a mission. And that mission was what brought me here to you. So thank you for being part of this war room. And thank you for trusting me with 7 minutes of your day every morning. That is amazing to me. And thank you for becoming the kind of leader who doesn't just survive the hard seasons, but blooms in them. You are unstoppable, and you always have been. Now, go prove it to yourself, prove it to your family, prove it to your team. Create some leadership fire, and I'll see you next week in the Dealership War Room.